All right, I'm Wes Fox, and doing the cervical series with Mike, my patient here. So first off, I want to make sure that the patient is de-artifacted, and then I'm going to get informed consent, and then I'm also going to gown the patient with a half apron, and then if there's any shielding required, which they're gonadal shielding, then I would do that. And also if he was a female, which I'm not sure, I would do the 10-day rule. So first I'm going to start off with the lateral cervical, and at Parker, it's always done on the right side. So first off, I'm going to set the tube and everything. I'm going to be at a 72 FFD. There's going to be a 0 degree tilt with the, yeah, you know what I'm saying, 0 degree tilt. Column 8 by 10, so I'm going to set this to 8, this to 10. There is no filter right here. So that's done. And then I'm going to move to the Bucky. So 8 by 10. I'm going to use an 8 by 10 cassette, non-detailed. I want to make sure the ID blocker is up. I'm going to use a Mitchell marker, so we're doing this right side. So I'm going to put a right Mitchell marker. All right?
Yeah, good.
Okay, good. A right Mitchell marker right beneath the ID blocker, so that way we know which side we're doing. I'm going to push this in a little bit, leave it out so I can align the central ray, and then I'm going to measure the patient for lateral. Don't mind me.
He's nervous. Sorry, I'm scared.
Boom. Cool. So we got a 14. Plug that into my old Super Tech. Lateral cervical. Oh my gosh, look where it is. Sweet. 14. Make sure I do the correction factor of +3.5. So we're good to go. Flip it over. So all cervicals have a KVP of 70, so I'm going to flip it over. Go and find 70. Go across. MES is about 100. So I plug it in the machine. Yep, close enough to 100. The machine's somewhat broken, but it's going to be 100. KVP 70. Good to go. And then, so now I'm going to make sure that I'm going to work with the central ray now. So central ray, I want it at the angle of the mandible, and then the vertical line is going to be in line with the mastoid processes. So, angle of the mandible, and I'm going to get you to move forward a little bit. That's good. So 8 by 10. Good. So breathing instructions would be take a deep breath in, let it all out, and hold. Good with that one. So now we're going to move on to AP. Before I would do that, make sure that's all the way in. And make sure the central ray is lined up. Yeah, right there. So now we're good to go. Take a deep breath. Let it all out. And we're good to go. So now we're going to move on to the AP lower cervical. So first off, I would make sure the patient's gowned, half apron, everything again. And I'm going to start off over here. This time we're going to be at 40 FFD. So this one we have a tube tilt of 15 degrees cephalic. So I'm going to go ahead and set that up. 15 degrees. I'm going to column 8 for 8 by 10, but for 40 FFD. Right there. So collimation is set. There is no filter on this one, so I'm going to go back here. We have 8 by 10 again. Non-detailed cassette. ID blocker is going to be up. This time we're going to mark it anatomically. So you're going to be back to the Bucky. So I'm just going to put a left marker right there. So that's good. We're going to push this in, make sure at the end that I line this up with the central ray. So now we're going to do the central ray. Central ray is going to be through right around C6 or thyroid cartilage. So I'm going to go ahead and line that up. Okay, so thyroid, it's right below thyroid cartilage. Collimation is set. We got soft tissue each side, so we're good to go. Then we're going to line this up with the central ray. push it all the way in. Then we're going to measure the patient. So, don't mind me, I'm just like laughter. Ooh, baby. 13.
Oh.
So go ahead and plug that in. Hey, no laughing, sir. So we're going to plug 13 into my good old super dry Super Tech. 13. So what do I do with the cervical? So it's going to be 70 kVp. Make sure I set this back to 0 because there is no correction factor. 13. Oh, don't trick me. Flip it over to 70. Check. MAS is 25. Plug that into the machine. Machine's not working. Dr. Garrett, so you need to fix that. Yeah, plug it in 20 MAS, 70 kVp. We're good to go. So now, gonna check everything, make sure it's lined up. We're good with that. Tube tilt this all the way in. So I'm just gonna have the patient don't breathe, don't move, and we're gonna go on to the last one. Last one is AP open mouth. So I'm going to stay at 40 FFD. There is no tube tilt, so I'm going to set this back to 0. Wait for the light to go off so I don't burn my patient. Yeah, there we go. No tube tilt. I'm going to make sure it's collimated for 8x10 again. No filter. Move to Bucky. 8x10 film again. I can leave the ID or the Mitchell marker where it is. ID marker blocker is up. Non-detailed cassette. So push that in, not all the way, and then move to the patient. So patient is going to be against the bucket with the chin slightly elevated, and then central ray is going to be through the uvula, and make sure you don't exclude the orbits. So we're going to make sure open your mouth all the way. Oh yeah, that's dandy. Yeah, looks good. And then we're going to So we're going to use the same measurement that we used for the AP lower cervical because you measure in the same spot, so that was a 13. And so the Super Tech is already set for 13. So we're going to flip it over again to 70. And it got messed up, so make sure the correction factor is 0. Make sure the correction factor is 0, set to 13, 70 kVp. Okay. I'm going to make sure we go to 0, and we're just going to hold it. 70 is 25 MAS. We're going to plug that into the machine. And we're going to push this all. We're going to make sure the central ray is lined up, which it's not. So we're going to go ahead and line this up. Push it all the way in. Lined up. Orbits, everything's good. Through the central ray, through the uvula. Yeah, everything looks good. I would have the patient don't breathe, don't move. And yeah, fire away. That's lateral cervical series, Wes Fox.